I intentionally had Reverend Kurt first and then Reverend Castle following because they said that people always get that mixed up. So this way you can see exactly who Reverend Rai is and then followed by Reverend Castle. You won't get them mixed up anymore. Reverend Tim Castle is a minister assistant with Kyoshi from the Sacramento Betsuin. He and his wife, Reverend Tim Castle, take care of the Marysville Temple here in Northern California District. He is a commander in the Office of Risk Management for the California Highway Patrol. So, Reverend Tim Castle.
So good to follow such a good-looking minister. And just for the record, I'm married to Reverend Carol Castle.
Yes.
Not Tim Castle, so it's okay. So good afternoon, everyone, and I'd like to welcome you to today's Dharmathon. It's a fun way to give and share different Dharma messages through different styles and perspectives, huh? I'm very happy to be here today with many of my DBFLs, my Dharma buddies for life, in the back couple of rows. So would you please join me in Gasho? The truth of Dr. Seuss. From there to here, and here to there, funny things are everywhere. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. So as my bio reads, I am Tim Castle, and while I have dual citizenship between the Sacramento Betsuin and the Marysville Buddhist Church, I'm here this weekend as a delegate from the Marysville Buddhist Church. So as our Marysville Sangha knows, I love to give pop quizzes. So here's a pop quiz. With a raise of hands, show of hands, how many of you have no idea where Marysville, California is? Raise your hand. Okay, good. So it's just about an hour north of here where we are today, so not too far. And our Sangha is made up of 38 members who are very passionate about keeping the temple open for those to listen to and share the Dharma. Our motto is very simple. We are open every Sunday. Open every Sunday. And while that may sound easy and simple to most temples, with such a small Sangha, it is a challenge. But we try our best every week. Now, one of the questions that I often receive from non-Buddhists when I am speaking out at such glamorous places as Yuba College or to visitors at our temple is, what is up with Prince Siddhartha's enlightenment? What is this thing called enlightenment? What is it that he first saw with his Dharma eyes open for the very first time? And I think while we can look at our usual answers, such as impermanence and interdependence, I believe his first true moment of enlightenment was that of the middle path, simply the middle path. So keeping in mind the middle path, the path of no extreme, we often then talk about his first teachings of the Four Noble Truths. And the first, life is what? Life is suffering. Life is difficulty. Life is dis-ease. And we know that this is true. Life at times can be very difficult. But in keeping in mind the idea of the middle path, while life can be difficult, it also means that at times life can be great joy. Life can be great joy and full of happiness and full of laughter, which means that on most days the t-shirts are true. Life is good. Life is good. And so today, I would simply like to spend a few minutes talking about the importance of laughter and humor in our daily lives, and the importance of laughter and humor in our practice of our Buddhist teachings. Now, one of my favorite teachers over my career was our past bishop, Koshino Gui, who we simply called Socho. From the very first time that I heard him speak, and it was at a Dharma School Teachers Conference. I think it was in this room or at the room where we had lunch at. It was probably about 23 years ago. And he told the Teachers Conference participants that he still had a difficult time speaking in front of large groups due to his heavy accent. That he always was afraid of people not being able to tell the difference of him saying that he was tired of sitting or tired of shh. And he said it. I'm not going to say it today, but he said it. Later in our ongoing time with Socho, we became aware that Socho is an extremely thoughtful and knowledgeable teacher, someone who could connect to people of all ages. And he was often able to do this with his sincerity, number one, but often additionally with his sense of humor. Years later, in a discussion group with Socho, he stated that he really has these three rules, these three characteristics for people who he associates with. So the first one was, don't be too serious. Second, don't lose your sincerity, don't lose your heart. And three, don't lose your sense of humor. Again, we know from our basic teachings that life can be difficult, yet at the same time, we know that they can be absolutely full of humor and laughter. So again, the words of Dr. Seuss, from there to here and here to there, funny things are everywhere. How true are these words? How true are these words? You know, recently, Reverend Carol gave our daughters and I a very thoughtful gift. We received a copy of the Book of Joy, the Book of Joy. And many of you have probably seen this book. It's a week's worth of discussions and essays and spiritual outlooks between the Dalai Lama and Bishop Desmond Tutu. And in a time in the world where there's so much divisiveness with religious practice, this book embraces the differences of practice and breaks down these differences to reveal the similarity of most religions. But what I like about the book is it makes me laugh. It simply makes me laugh. And I believe that the power of humor and laughter is one of the most under-discussed aspects of religion. I believe that appropriate humor is such an important tool that we can use, but it seems that many of us think that we have to be really serious. We have to be serious to make our point. So again, over the years, I've read many books about the Buddha, his teachings, and his thoughts about life. And rarely is laughter a topic of discussion in these readings. And I began to wonder, self, if Buddhism really is about simply opening our eyes to the reality and truth that surrounds us, and if Dr. Seuss is accurate that funny things are everywhere, then humor and laughter must be a part of the reality of our daily lives. So in researching this idea of Buddhism and laughter, I was happy to find many websites that spoke about the inclusion of humor into daily practice. Okay, so we're going to start throwing out some little jokes here. They're not very good, but you got to go with the flow. So many of these websites really focused in on the Zen perspective. Many Zen koans, or thoughtful daily questions, are full of humorous contemplations, such as, if by sitting in meditation one becomes a Buddha, then all frogs are Buddhas. Okay? You get it. Come on. We can do a little bit better. So did you hear recently that reincarnation is making a comeback? For those of you here today who really do know me, you know that I do love to laugh. And I think that humor is a tie that can bind us all. I believe that laughter is an expression of enlightenment. It's an expression of enlightenment. Because true laughter cannot be faked. Think about that. True laughter cannot be faked. And if true laughter is reality, then how can laughter and humor not be a part of our path to enlightenment? But the humor has to be appropriate, huh? Especially in this day and time, humor has to be non-offensive. I recently read a web article, and it was entitled, "How Did the Buddha Laugh?" And here's a short quote from that. The Buddha would not have laughed at people. The Buddha would not have laughed at people. The Buddha's laughter is not cynical, sarcastic, bitter, or defiant. But the Buddha's laughter is a laughter of compassion and amusement at the interplay of knowledge and ignorance that makes up the joys and sorrows of what we call life. And this is exactly what Dr. Seuss said, that funny things are truly everywhere. Again, life can be difficult, we know this. And if our laughter is genuine and not mean-spirited, it can ease our suffering in dealing with the daily difficulties that we often face. Just 3 years ago, Carol and I officiated at a funeral for one of our longtime Sangha members. And we'll call him Fred, just for the sake of argument. Now, I'm sure that I don't really need to set the stage here, because I'm sure that all of you here today, ministers, you have officiated at dozens or maybe hundreds of funerals. Non-ministers here today, I'm sure that you have attended funerals, memorials for friends and loved ones. There's no one in attendance at a funeral who cannot fully express the concept of impermanence. And everyone in attendance comes with a heavy heart. And this was true that day 3 years ago. But as we came to the part of the service where remembrances were given, the last person to speak that day was the neighbor of our Sangha member, and we'll call him Bob. Bob was someone who had spent 50 years in a very deep friendship with Fred. And again, with heavy hearts from previous remembrances, we began to listen. We began to listen to the tale woven by Bob, a tale of a life shared through friendship, and the stories that were told were truly priceless. And they were very, very funny. They were not jokes or an attempt to entertain, but heartfelt examples of a lifetime shared by these two friends and partners in crime. Again, with hearts still heavy, we now found ourselves again shedding tears. Tears of love, tears of grief, and tears of joy and humor as a lifetime was remembered. Again, if our laughter is genuine and not mean-spirited, it can ease our suffering in dealing with the daily difficulties that we often face. And as we continue to take these steps together in our life's path, let us remember to find that right blend, that right middle path of laughter and serious thought. You can't always live on one side of the path, or you become unbalanced in your life. If you're always serious and have no fun, there's no balance. If you're always living in a world of humor and can't be serious, then you too will lead a life that is not balanced. So I got two more actually. Did you hear the Dalai Lama just fired his new gardener? He did. The gardener had a problem with his reincarnations. Okay, I think that's it. Please join me in closing Gasho. Let's keep in mind the words of Dr. Seuss and our core Buddhist teaching of the middle path. And again, remember, from there to here and here to there, funny things are everywhere. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.